All right, welcome everyone. It is 7 o'clock and it is time to get our January 2025 work session started. It's hard to get used to. I know we will get used to it. But we're going to go ahead and just start working down the agenda. We do have a proclamation coming up Monday night that Mr. Gary's going to handle. Would you like to talk about it briefly?
Yes, just briefly. I did call Danica last night. She's not 100% sure she's going to be here. She has an obligation earlier in the day. She thinks she will be. So I'll ask that we leave it on, but we may skip it then. I did some research on Sherwood drugs last night, and I asked Jane for a sample proclamation. So I'll try and get that together in the next day or two and email it to everyone. So if they have any comments or adjustments or that sort of thing.
Well, thank you for doing it, Gary. Great family, and sorry to see the business go. All right, next we'll move on to old business, and I'll recognize the planning department. Art, are you going to talk about that, or somebody else?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good evening. Hope everyone's doing well. The first item we have for your review this evening is RZ 24004. This is an application that Council would be familiar with. I will go over that in a little detail. Feel free to wave me down if you need me to speed it up or anything along those lines, but it does have a little history. Going back to August 19th last year, the Planning Commission scheduled a public hearing and recommended tabling the item until site plan could be reviewed. September 2nd, 2024, the City Council authorized legal counsel to begin drafting an MOU, Sugar Hill DDA, for the city-owned properties or parcels represented on the site plan. September 9th, City Council unanimously voted to table the review public hearing to October 14th meeting and remand the application back to the Planning Commission for the September 16th meeting. September 16th, Planning Commission voted 302 to recommend denial of the request. October 14th, City Council votes 3-2 to approve the rezoning and expansion of the CBD with amended conditions. October 21st, 2024, Mayor Hembree vetoed the approval with amended conditions. December 9th, 2024, Mayor Hembree's veto was held. The case was tabled by City Council and remanded back to the Planning Commission with an updated site plan and revised conditions by staff. Additional public hearings were called for the December Planning Commission and January City Council meetings. December 16th, Planning Commission held an additional public hearing. Planning Commission voted 3-2 to recommend approval of the rezoning with the staff's conditions. Here is an outline of the parcel or parcels, the existing zoning and the surrounding zonings. The outline in red shows the greater overview of the Hedgewood property. Some of the images here, and here are we'll get into the site plans showing the proposed footprints of the improvements that are slated for the property. I'll remind the council that the acreage that's up for consideration is 4.61 acres, I believe. And again, this is showing the overall project site plan for Hedgewood. Okay, and then we'll get into some architectural renderings of some of the proposed improvements that are slated to go on the property eventually. There we go. All right. So I'll just run through some of these. I will say, while I'm going through the images, Mayor and Council, at the Planning Commission, there was a considerable amount of discussion amongst Planning Commission, chiefly about the density of the project, and that discussion also happened amongst some of the citizens that were here to speak on the project that were, had some concerns and opposition of the project. So the density amount was a chief concern for the discussion. Moving on to the staff's recommendation. So the staff recommends approval of the request to rezone the 4.61 acres as described at 1036 and 1040 Whitehead Road to RS 100 and expand the boundaries of the Central Business District with the following conditions. The development shall substantially conform to the site plan submitted with the application, particularly regarding its general features, placement, et cetera. The buffers against parcels R7 306 011A, which is 1056 Whitehead, and R7 306 008, which is 1030 Whitehead Road, shall be no less than 15 feet, including a 5-foot landscape strip adjacent to the property line. All alleys, parking areas, sidewalks, street lights, common areas, landscape and private storm water infrastructure shall be privately owned and maintained by the homeowners association. The recorded covenants specifying maintenance of the infrastructure shall be provided to the city prior to the approval of the final plat, and the developer shall establish a capital reserve fund with a minimum balance of $50,000 for the HOA to use for the future maintenance thereof prior to certificate of occupancy for 50% of the homes. The cost of stormwater management facilities shall be paid by the developer, and the density of the project shall not exceed 157 units as depicted in Exhibit 2, and shall be limited to 7 units per acre on the subject properties. On-street parking shall not be allowed on Whitehead. At least three natural gas appliances shall be installed within each residential unit prior to a certificate of occupancy. And covenants shall stipulate that no more than 10% of the total number of dwelling units are allowed to be leased at any one time located on the subject properties. No direct vehicular connection shall be provided from Bailey Avenue to Whitehead for the site plan and Exhibits 1 and 2. With that, Mayor and Council, I'll yield now for any questions that Council may have.
All right. Thank you, Art.
Yes, sir.
Any questions about the new proposal? All right, I hear no questions. I'm sure if people come up with questions between now and next Monday, they can reach out to you. And
Absolutely, yes, sir. We'd be more than happy to discuss.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
all right, thank you.
Thank you,
Next,
sir.
we'll move on to new business, and we'll do the design review for 25-001. Art, somebody on your team going to handle that one?
Yes, sir. I'll just run through that. Again, we have a design review for 5017 Spring Hill Drive, which is R7291039. And here is an outline of the subject parcel. And current zoning is RS150. And here are some schematics of the addition. This is, I believe, an open carport that is an extension which was connected to the home via breezeway. It's my understanding that the home itself went through design review fairly recently, and this is what would be an attached carport for the home. The carport is attached via breezeway. If it was not, the carport would need to be more in the rear, but since it is physically attached to the existing home, the placement is in conformance. Mayor and Council, the image that you see here now are the treatments that were used for the existing home for reference. And these were presented during the home's DRB application. Images of the home itself. And the staff recommends approval of the site plan and buildings, material and architectural detail with the following conditions: that the final design shall substantially resemble the attached exhibits labeled Exhibits 1 through 2. All materials and colors shall match those of the house.
Thank you, Art.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
Any questions on this item? Yes, sir, Gary.
Could you go back and show the overhead view of the house?
Yes, sir.
Right there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you mentioned an attached breezeway or something. I don't notice it there. Does it go from the side up? Does it go to that side door? Or what does that breezeway look like? Where is it?
Yes, sir. I believe that's correct. Now, I'll let y'all correct. The breezeway will be connecting from the existing home into the carport right there. Let me go back to this other one.
Can you move your mouse over where it would be? I don't know if that will show up maybe for us or not.
Sir.
I was asking on that other illustration, if you could show it with your mouse where that will be,
Yeah.
if the mouse shows up, yeah.
Try to do it here. Are you all able to see the cursor
Okay, yes.
right there? So, see, right in here, I believe is where it's going to connect.
Can you go back to the overhead?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so maybe I'm looking at something wrong, but to me, this looks like a carport's on the left of the house, and show me where the breezeway is or whatever.
Back to.
So here, it looks like the driveway's on the right side of the house to me. That's the rear. That's the rear.
The elevation 2A, Art, if you would describe that as, is looking towards the street? Is that
Oh,
correct?
right.
So that's from the rear of it. Do we not have a front view of it?
It's from the, looks like it says it's from the back.
Right. Is there one from the front that shows the driveway and the breezeway?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Don't, let me go through. I think that's, I
Maybe 1A is that, but
think that's all we have with that. We could,
I'm just not quite clear on where it is. If it's going to that door from the driveway, then it seems like that would be an obstruction to the cars entering. If it's going straight across, straight north as this picture is laid out, then I could see that there, but I don't know where an entrance is. I mean, in general, I don't have an opposition to it. It just, to me, these things don't add up and make sense.
right, yes, sir. And we'll get that clarified. And I think because let me go back to it. Yes, if this is looking at the rear of the house, the elevation is 2A, then I think it may be looking switched, from between this image and then the overhead image. But we'll clarify that
Okay.
for next week.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Art, I might be able to help. Can you go back to the overhead image of the property?
Yes, sir.
So based on what I can see from the previous slide, the back view, the breezeway would go, there's a little, like you see the new driveway, and it has like this, like, I don't know, coloration and stuff. So the breezeway, based on what I can tell from the back view, would go over that area where the same consistency as the new driveway is. And then there's a little intersection there. The door into the house would be in that corner.
Okay.
And that's based on what I can tell from the back
I
view.
think that's
Maybe
correct,
that's
yes,
the
sir.
case,
I think that's right. Where,
But I
Where
agree.
it steps out to the new driveway, that looked like a door, and that's why I wasn't seeing how.
And when we do approve it, we have to say that it substantially looks like the exhibits. And so just want to make sure, to Gary's point, that
Absolutely.
we see what it is exactly. All right, any other questions? Good question.
I guess last one.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, if that rendering is to scale and that carport's 24 by 24, then you've got at least 24 from the edge of the carport to the property line. So no encroachments or anything that we have to worry about?
I don't think so, no, sir. We'll double check just to make
Okay.
sure that everything's in compliance, but I believe that everything is good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Anybody else got questions? All right, we'll move on to
Thank you.
item number 3. Yes, sir. Thank you, Art. And that is the Mayor Pro Tem appointment. And so our charter provides for Mayor Pro Tem to serve a 2-year term, appointed in the odd year. And so we are in the odd year. I want to thank Alvin for serving as the mayor pro tem previously, but it's time for someone else to do so, and that is judgment call on city council's part. And so we just ask that between now and next Monday, if y'all could communicate and just make a decision on who would like to step in to that role. And if anybody has questions about the role, please ask me. I don't miss a whole lot, but obviously if I'm unable to be at a meeting, the mayor pro tem would be asked to preside over those meetings, and there's some other provisions in case that I'm absent. But would welcome anybody to serve in that role and would give them the opportunity to experience running a meeting and serving in other ways as well. So thank y'all. All right, next we'll move on to item number 4, and that is that's Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. I spoke with the chairman of the Downtown Development Authority. He spoke with his members of the authority, and posts 1 through 5 are actually up at the end of January. Posts 1, 2, 3, and 4 all told him that they would like to continue to serve on the DDA. Post 5, which is currently held by Suzanne Nickel, she expressed her desire to step down from that post, and so we'll be looking for a new appointment to post 5. So that covers items 4 and 5. We do have some folks that have expressed interest in post 5, but they have not said that they're for sure into it yet. But once I hear back from them, I will forward their contact info or their resume to you all for your review and consideration. Depending on how since that appointment actually that post doesn't actually expire until the end of January, we can always table that if need be. And then items 6 and 7, all right, go ahead on.
Yes, sir, you're welcome to go on.
For the Riverlands Authority, I spoke with Chairman Hurl. She talked with the members of the authority. Posts 2, 3, and 4 all expressed a desire to continue service. One of those posts is mine as the council liaison to the Riverlands Authority, and I'm happy to continue to serve as the liaison to the Riverlands Authority. Post 1, which is currently held by Mark Hagan. Mark has expressed a desire to step away from the Riverlands Authority. Certainly appreciate his service to the authority over the past couple of years, and so we'll have a new appointment for post 1, and I do have an individual who has expressed interest in that position that I will circulate to you all for your consideration. Their post actually expired at the end of the year, so those folks continue to serve until they're reappointed or replaced by City Council. We do have a meeting coming up this Wednesday. Those folks that are on posts 2, 3, and 4 will be at the meeting and serving in their capacity until the decision is made by Council. That's all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Are there any questions of Taylor? And if you look under city manager discussions, updates, we do have, we're going to talk about the Planning and Zoning Commission, potential reappointments. But anyways, any questions of Taylor?
I have a question. I was looking on the city website about the DDA and Riverlands. I notice on Riverlands, it states the requirements for being on the Riverland Authority, but there is no such statement of requirement on the DDA. So I think that would be important to add to the city website. And also for the DDA, I have also had somebody who said they would like to serve on the DDA. So is this the same procedure that that person would email the mayor and council?
I would have them email it to you and you send it to us. That would be the way I would handle it, and would love to get it between now and next Monday, along with Taylor's suggestions as well. Yes, ma'am.
And as far as the reappointments, since I'm still new to this, is each person voted and reappointed separately?
That's a question for Frank. I think I recall doing it both ways in the past, but we can do them individually, or
Yeah,
a group?
I think it's up to the council as to how you want to do it. You could do it as a slate and nominate all of the folks, and if there are no other nominations, or if that is accepted, then you can do it as a slate, or you can do each individual post individually. It's however you want to do it.
I think Taylor has presented it as a slate, and so that's how I would take it on the agenda.
I'm
Yes.
also aware of a few other people that are interested in serving as well, so I'll send some information out.
And when you send the information out, please let us know what post that would be considered for as well, if you don't mind. And Frank, remind me for the reappointments, what I need to swear them in again.
New appointments, you have to swear them in. If they're reappointments, you can swear them in, but it's not necessarily required because they've already been sworn in and they would continue to serve under their existing oath.
That's good. It's always good to ask just for clarification. All right, any other questions, comments?
I just want to clarify, so even though there's 4 posts available on the DDA, they all expire at the same time, anybody who would like to serve on the DDA still has to choose which post?
No, they would continue under the post that they're currently serving. They would be reappointed to their existing post.
But what I meant is, for somebody who's interested in DDA, they would have to say which post.
They would want to be appointed to post 5 because that's the one that in my mind is open, right? So I think if someone served and they want to be reappointed, that they should be reappointed to the position that they've served in. I think it looks incredibly bad if you don't do that because it looks like it's political. And these are people that have served our community well. And I mean, you're welcome to do whatever you like, but I just think that looks bad, right? It looks like politics,
I
right?
just wanted to clarify what the procedure is.
Yes, ma'am. I understand. Any other questions or comments? All right, we'll move on to item number 8. That's the beer and wine license. Ms. Whittington, we rarely have one from you, but it's your time to talk about something.
Yes, Mayor. As you know, your alcohol code requires that any new business or the retail sale of beer or wine has to be approved by the City Council. I have an application for European Taste that's located at 5192 Nelson Brogdon Boulevard in the shopping center at the corner of Highway 20. The ad has been placed in the paper. All background checks have been performed. We have a survey, a registered agent, and I believe we have everything necessary. All the save affidavits have been ran. Everything with the application is good for approval. There are some criteria within the alcohol license that it suggests that the mayor and council consider when approving a new retail license, and I'll email those to y'all tomorrow so you can know the parameters of what you're looking at.
All right, any questions of Jane? Yes, Gary?
Just one question there, just to clarify. The name of it's European Taste, but this is talking about package sales. There's no on-premises consumption or anything, correct?
No on-premises consumption. It's a European market.
Right. I just want to make sure there's no confusion there with the name versus the intent.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like
Okay.
kind of restaurant, but it's
Sure.
not a restaurant and there's no seating,
Right.
so it's just a market.
Okay, thank you.
I'll add to it because I go there frequently. It's essentially an Eastern European grocery store, although it's very, very small. And my understanding through this is that they would like to sell European beer and wine, things that you don't normally find anywhere else. But I hope that answers the question additionally. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? I'll say this too, if you have an opportunity to go there, I think they would love the support. They're not getting a tremendous amount of traffic. I think they're struggling in that spot. So just thought that I would put that out there. They happen to have some cookies that I love. They're they're Ukrainian cookies, and so I go there frequently and buy the cookies, but not much else though. But all right, next we'll move on to the last item, item number 9, and that is Jane as well.
Thank you, Mayor. The city will be holding a general election on November 24th of this year for 2 city council posts and the mayor's. They're currently held by Alvin Hicks and Taylor Anderson and our mayor, Brandon Henry. The OCGA 21-131A1A requires that all municipal cities set their qualifying fee by February 1st of the year in which you're holding a general election. And so the request is that that the council set the qualifying fee for $108 for city council and $162 for mayor. That's 3% of the annual salary from the preceding year.
Thank you, Jane. Any questions of Jane? When do we set the qualifying dates?
It is the 3rd week of August.
Okay. It's okay, I was just curious. Do we have to set it, or is it just automatic?
We always have the mayor and council call for the election
Okay.
and set those qualifying fees.
All right, any questions? All right, that's it on the new business. Next, we'll move on to city manager discussions and updates. And I'll take the first one. I put that on there because Meg asked me about it after our special call meeting. And I hadn't really thought about it in addition to the Riverlands Authority and the Downtown Development Authority. But we do have 2 members whose term has expired or will be expiring. And I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's Jason Jones and Rosemary Walsh. And I honestly have not had time to work on asking them whether or not they want to continue serving. If someone else would like to do that, that's they're welcome to reach out to Rosie and Jason to see. But I wasn't ready, so I just put it down under this discussion. But whatever y'all like to do there. I would imagine that Rosie is going to want to continue to serve. She has stated that in the past, and I do not know about Jason, though. But Meg, if you... Yes, ma'am, if you're welcome to, and if you need some contact information, I think probably I have some, and probably Jane has some as well.
I will contact them.
Okay, and I just put that under the discussion because I thought it was more appropriate. But Paul, I'll hand it over to you for your updates.
I want to say Happy New Year to everyone, and I hope your holiday season went well. We will be having an end-of-year report next week by Chief King on the Marshal's Department. I know they're giving me an end-of-the-year report, so I'd like you to spend some time doing that next week. And you'll see that a lot of activity downtown. Our staff, as well as our contractors, have been hustling to remove and take down all of our holiday decorations. I hate to see them go, but they've been working diligently like that to get the city ready for the spring and into the summer. We've got several events that are occurring in the theater. Obviously, the ice rink continues to be operational, and it's doing fabulous. And just for your information, I know Troy will talk about this a little bit, but our golf course had a great performing year, a record-setting revenues, so we're real pleased with that. With that, then I'll turn it over to Troy to give an operations report. We'll have more detailed report next week on both downtown and events as well as public safety.
Thank you, Mr. Radford. In the way of an operations update, if you'll recall, we had a very challenging 2024. We had one meeting with limited heat. We had trees take down power lines last week. So that is largely the reason we're having some issues with the AV system tonight. I appreciate your patience. We'll get a handle on that before next Monday. Wanted to provide a little bit more detail on what Mr. Radford mentioned about the golf course and its very successful year in 2024. He mentioned record-setting revenues of over $2 million that will enable us to curtail the transfer to golf course that was previously budgeted. The budgeted revenues were the $1.5 million as shown in the green line. This is the way the revenue stream looks like over the calendar year. And you can see the top 5 lines there are everything after COVID. So COVID was very good to golf. Enabled us to accomplish a great number of deferred maintenance projects and also, as I mentioned, curtail the transfer from the general fund. So our biggest months, as you see there, are in July. And then we do have some challenges that we're going to work through to boost the revenues in June and September. So what does that look like in terms of number of rounds? We're north of 42,000 rounds, which is a little bit less than double what we used to have at the golf course. So golf has seen a resurgence with the closing of the Lanier Golf Course just around the corner, and then again, people having time and resources to play golf. What we want to do is also encourage pace of play, which the GPS-enabled golf carts enable us to do, so we can keep golf carts on the course, on the path, and moving at a proper pace. So it's been a very good year at the golf course, and we'll update more on that as we get into the warmer months of this year. I wanted to also update the 2024 public project construction projects that we've been able to complete and highlight a few of those. Some of the smaller ones we were able to accomplish involve replacing the playground surface at Gary Perkle Park under the pavilion there. And this is what it looked like after they completed the work. And I'm sure it's just as beautiful today, if not cold. At Ridge Lake Park, I also wanted to mention a number of projects that our staff was able to do in-house that I just want to applaud Andy and his staff for accomplishing. They worked with the local disc golf group and organization to lay out the disc golf course at Ridge Lake Park. And so you see one of those in the left-hand image just inside the wood line there. And so that group, in conjunction with our staff, laid it out, installed the holes and the tee boxes associated with that. It is a 9-hole golf course, so if you get a chance to experiment with disc golf, it's a good place to try out your hand with that. There are QR codes and some other things you can use to get a scorecard. You can find your way around the course that way. The staff was also able to construct some footbridges for the trails through the 22 acres. And so you see a few examples of those on the right-hand side of the slide. One of the other things our staff was able to do was coordinate with DNR to stock the pond with bass. So we still have probably about 6 more months before we're able to authorize fishing in there. But later on this year, we'll be able to put some signs up and coordinate start for that. We did finally complete the golf course cell tower lease renewal. It was a project from 2021, unfortunately. but was slowed down by Vertex winning the bid from American Tower, so they had to replace the actual tower on the site. So one of the complicating factors was the osprey nest at the top of the tower. So in addition to setting up a temporary tower, American Tower had to wait until the appropriate season to take the tower down when the ospreys had migrated, and then same thing with the Vertex. So it was a long 3-year process for us. And then we did complete some stormwater improvements on Winter Sweet Way. This was completed in July, fixed a drainage problem there. We have also completed a stormwater-related project at Gary Perkle Park, where the stream bank had eroded as a result of a few large storms in 2023 that eroded the stream bank and threatened to undermine the sidewalk along the entrance from Austin Garner. So you see the before image on the left. On the right, you'll see the hardened lower part of the embankment and then the vegetative BMPs above that. There is matting and there are live stakes, which are cut live stakes, as it sounds, from another plant source. And in the spring, those will green up and it will vegetate that entire slope. At the top of the embankment, our staff is going to be constructing a fence here in the next couple of months. That will safe up the top of that embankment. Chile Old Swanee Alway Stop was completed in 2024 as well. Impacts a lot of travelers on that segment of Old Swanee, North Price, and Railroad Avenue. And then again, First Avenue street lighting was a project completed in 2024, which you'll see on the upper image to the left. Just provides enough light for roadway lighting and pedestrian lighting for the new sidewalk that was completed in 2023 to the right. Alton Tucker Boulevard realignment was completed in August of 2024, and that one connected our downtown with Highway 20 and also included stop-and-go traffic signal on Highway 20. Again, one of the larger projects in '24 was our road resurfacing and repair program, which typically had been $500,000 to $750,000 worth of improvements, but we were able to supplement that with some additional state funding to complete not only repairs to the 16 roads on the left of the image, but also added 6 more that were in disrepair as well, with the additional state funding. That was largely completed in July. We did have some striping and pavement marking that had to be completed later in the fall. One more stormwater project I wanted to highlight was Creek Bluff, which wrapped up at the end of November, and we have been doing some additional inspections and testing through the month of December. So the image on the left is a before image. And when I say before, it was probably 2020, 2019. And after the image on the left was, or picture was taken, there was some other disrepair that had occurred and knocked down this outlet structure right here. And on the right side of the image, you see on the backyard, on the right-hand side was the additional new pipe installed, and then the new outlet structure. An overhead shot of what that looks like. The main pipe section is on the left of the image where the cursor is, and then the inlet side is on the right. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor.
That sounds like it. All right, I have not been informed that we have a need for executive session. Is there a need?
We do have 2 issues, if we can. One related to real estate.
All right. And I have a couple of our typical annual personnel reviews that we need to do, but I'm not going to do those tonight because I don't have everything that I need, but hopefully after our city council meeting next Monday night. So is there a motion to go into executive session about 2 real estate matters?
Make a motion to go into executive session.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, just signify by raising your right hand. All right, we will go into executive session. Will we need to take action afterwards? Okay, got it. We'll be back when we're done.